Have you made that New Year's resolution to get into shape and you still haven't followed through with it? Then you need to join KO Gym.
The champ is here! The champ is here! The champ is here!
KO Gym is located at 50 Conduit Street in the north end of New Bedford, within the historic mills in a 5,000 square foot space, within plenty of room to train for social distancing, and the facility has unlimited parking outside. KO Gym offers exclusive training in Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, grappling, jiu-jitsu, as well as strength and conditioning programs. So if you're looking to train to get into shape to train for self-defense, or if you're looking to train to compete professionally, KO Gym has experienced professional staff to help you obtain your goal. They also offer one-on-one personal training as well as group classes to satisfy everyone's needs. So go ahead and let KO Gym help you make that change for a healthy body and a healthy mind. And also tell them that WMB1 Radio made the referral for you.
For a truly satisfying dining experience, look no further than Top Shelf Bar and Grill in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Our family-style restaurants offer an array of mouth-watering dishes, from pub favorites to traditional Portuguese cuisine. Treat yourself to an expertly prepared Portuguese meal or unwind with a handcrafted cocktail from our bar. Be sure to try our signature creations, including shrimp Mozambique, bourbon tips, grilled salmon, and the signature top shelf steak. Our warm and inviting atmosphere, combined with exceptional service, ensures a memorable experience. Since 2011, Top Shelf has proudly served a unique blend of Mediterranean-inspired cuisine, reflecting Portuguese, Spanish, and American flavors. Our founder, Robert J. Afonso, drew upon his industry expertise to create a welcoming space where everyone can enjoy a delicious meal, catch a game, or simply relax with friends. We strive to make our house your house, fostering a sense of community and supporting local organizations. When you visit Top Shelf Bar and Grill, make sure to mention WNB1 Radio and enjoy your meal.
Reliable Bus Lines Incorporated has been a leader in the school bus industry for over 40 years. Founded in 1980, Reliable Bus Lines Incorporated has provided the South Coast and surrounding areas of the Commonwealth transportation services ranging from private to contracted school bus and van services for corporate transportation. Specializing in school bus transportation, Reliable Bus Lines cares about your precious cargo. Our drivers are trained and certified and understand the importance of being on time and getting students to and from school safely. A staple in the greater New Bedford region, Reliable Bus Lines Incorporated is a women and minority-owned company. Our staff prides itself on being diverse, professional, and helpful. Call now to book your next outing, 508-992-0342. So come and take a ride with Reliable Bus, the bus you can trust. And don't forget to tell them that WNB1 Radio sent you. It's no secret that the trucking industry is struggling for drivers. So why not look for a school that can get you the credentials that you need to start that new career? Get on the road to success with J&J Driving School and Logistics Incorporated, located at 978 Nash Road in New Bedford, Massachusetts. J&J is a Black and woman-owned trade school leading the South Coast in CDL training. J&J offers the most comprehensive training programs for CDLs A, B, and school bus training. Don't let opportunities drive right by you. Go and see our friends at J&J and get your CDL career started right away. And be sure to tell them that WNB1 Radio sent you.
I would like to introduce.
Okay, let's go.
New Bedford's new online radio station. WNB1 Radio, broadcasting live 24/7. All music genres. WNB1 Radio, your urban music link.
Good evening and welcome to WMB1 Radio and Straight to the Point Sports, where I'm joined by my regular co-host Eric Casatio and Steve Lopes.
What up? What up? What up? What's going on, good city of New Bedford?
And beyond, and beyond. So the NBA draft has taken over the sports world in the last day, and will continue tonight with the second round. So let's talk about the NBA draft first. As we know, it took place yesterday, and really not many surprises.
Talking earlier, you guys had a few. If you want to hit on those,
Well, I'm talking about in the I should say one that I thought that wasn't going to buck the trend. They had Ace Bailey dropping. Some people had him as low as 8.
well, Utah said they were told no, but they weren't passing on. They said play for us or play for nobody.
Yeah,
We're not getting that much money in the G League,
which not for nothing. That's the way it should be.
yeah.
like
We've
he wanted to go to Washington or Brooklyn.
That's some bullshit though. Like, how
I,
can you hold a team hostage like that?
I'm starting to think that these kids that are coming into
Too privileged.
you see it more so in basketball and football.
Well, the two highest.
I don't really. You don't really see it like you don't really see a top prospect come into baseball and be like, "Listen, I want to go here, I want to go there, or else I'm not playing."
Yeah, that's crazy.
Some of the top prospects may spend 3, 4, 5 years in the minors,
And that's what I think is good because it keeps their egos in check. They have to earn
Yeah.
it. But basketball and football only have one league.
yeah.
I mean, basketball developed the G League, but there's not like a developmental minor league system where you can stash people. You have to stash them overseas. It's a whole another question.
And if anything, I think he would have learned. Ace Bailey would have learned by watching what happened to Shador Sanders.
Exactly. That's
To
crazy.
take note and be like, "Hey, listen, I can't
Search
be
your
talking this
endorsements, too.
craziness."
Yep.
It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be drafted. Not only be drafted, he was a lottery pick. He was a lottery pick. So to sit there and be like, I didn't want to, and then you see him take the group picture. There's so many memes. You see all the memes. I don't want to be here. Like a picture with him shaking the commissioner's hand, like I don't want to be here. I'm already
Tried to play it off. He said the right things when
Yeah.
he was up there. But
Listen,
You're supposed to.
yeah, I know.
have
But he had already done so much damage, he couldn't afford to.
But there's nothing you can do now.
To me, it's mind-boggling. You see these players. I mean, it's like 1 out of like a million to hit that spot, and
to be a
have-
lottery,
and-
just get drafted in the NBA.
Yes.
It might be a
And
lottery.
The
pick.
thing that's crazy is every position is slotted at a higher salary. So you cost yourself a higher salary just by
Being dumb.
what did he drop? 2 spots?
Yeah, he was supposed to go to the Sixers.
Yeah, he was supposed to go 3 because then Charlotte passed on him too.
Yeah. It makes no sense to me. Why and how a lot of these kids today think that they can come right out the gate and demand
Where they're gonna play.
money. I think part of it is, being able to call your shots with NIL deals is getting them spoiled. And I think a lot of them,
Hungry no more.
a lot of them come into the league like, yeah, I was making, X amount of dollars, and I can do it when I'm in the NBA, and not realizing that, listen, you're going from, being the top dog to being just another fish in the bowl.
That's it.
You know,
It might be just a
not
practice
many,
play.
not many of those guys. We can look back. We could take a look back, and we can go back 5, 6, 7 years and look at guys 1 through 10 to see how many people really have, hit and who are stars and own that position.
Or even in the league still.
Yeah. It just isn't that way. It just doesn't happen that way. I don't know. It's mind-boggling for me. But yeah, so he was he ended up with the 5th pick. Surprises, too high, too low? Anybody want to start with that? Too high, too low?
Oh,
in the draft overall.
I'm gonna. In my opinion,
we're talking about Ace Bailey though.
I was
no,
shocked.
no. It just
I was
too
I
high.
was shocked that Con Canoodle went at 4.
yeah.
I thought I was thinking 9, 10.
Well, they were predicting him to be anywhere from 4 to 10.
Yeah, I would say 9 to 10, but when he went 4, I was
Depends on
I was
team
taken
needs.
back by that.
So I look at it, right? I look at it, the Hornets. I look at it as this has been a very dysfunctional, organization for years.
That's why the NBA didn't want them with the number 1 pick. They've already had it
for years.
They screwed up top picks,
and they botch it year after year. And I think, I think his only saving grace is he's going to a bad team. So.
And he's staying in his state where he played college ball.
Yeah. Well, so I think
base.
going to a bad team will be a saving grace for him. But if I were to look at his, I think they had the second worst record in the league, right?
Yeah, after Washington.
Yeah, they had the second worst record in the league. So I think that him going to them, obviously you can showcase whatever talents he has because he was considered, top 3 shooters in the draft. So now he'll get up more shots. He'll get off more shots. So it might be one of those things where you're looking at it and you're seeing something that's really not there.
And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Charlotte just lose their big man?
Yes, he ended up going to Phoenix.
Yep.
But I look at it this way. I think that he's one of those players. I think that's already hit his ceiling.
It's a good possibility.
I don't think there's much more improvement with his physical talents that he can do more. I mean, it's not like he jumps out the gym.
Well, that's my concern.
Well, this is
how's he going to play defense?
I was
man-to-man league.
I was getting there. Okay, listen, you can be great on offense. We've seen it with one of the best offensive players ever, right? We've seen it in Luka Doncic. You can be a great.
They're gonna find you in crunch time.
But you know what? When the ball's in the opposite hands, it's like, what are you gonna do? So what I was getting ready to say, Steve beat me to the point was his. We'll talk about his offensive ability. To create for himself. One, he's a catch shoot type of guy.
Yep.
If you're going to be a catch type shoot type of guy, you better have multiple people, aka how Steph was to Clay. You better have somebody within that offense that eyes are going to be on them, where it's going to open up your.
If they stay healthy, he has that in Ball, and he has that in the kid from Alabama, the 6'9" kid, that the shooter there, Miller. So both those guys were hurt a big portion of last year.
Yep.
And I think that's what contributed to them mostly having a horrible record. And they still got Bridges. So they've got talent around. Now, those other guys are going to command more offensive attention than him. All he has to do is be that spot up 3 guy and knock it down. But then they're going to come down the other end and they're going to search his guy out on defenses. It's only so many ways you can hide him.
Yeah.
But he's going to be I don't see him starting. I see him being somebody that comes in situational. They need to spread the floor. They'll use him for, just to make other people break up double teams.
Yeah, I just, for me, like I said, I think his ceiling is there already. I don't see much. I could be wrong, but I mean, just
Flag talks really good about him, saying he was the hottest guy to God in practice every day.
But you got to remember, like I said earlier, right? Obviously, you go from being the man to being regular fish in the tank now.
Yeah.
You're gonna see those guys, every day coming at you because now it's the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just think I thought 4 was high. I thought he may have gone, around a 10.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Around a 10, under 10, but 4, I think was high for me.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Who would you rather have seen them look at number 4? If it's not him, if you're Charlotte, because that was another place Ace Bailey said he didn't want to go, so people weren't going to take that chance of drafting Bailey. So it had to be somebody besides Bailey. Would
It
you take
it,
Trey
it has
Johnson?
it has to be you have to look at, obviously you got to look at that position, because you're not going to bring a point guard in.
No.
All right, because you've got a point guard there.
Right.
So now you have to start looking at these guys. So I'll just say, if I look at some of the guys that I thought were drafted too low, I think Trey Johnson was
One spot after him.
I think he was
Well, two spots after.
two spots.
2 spots.
But once again, now you're talking about a guard that it's the same position. Who else?
But he was a lot more athletic.
Yes.
And he can play defense.
He's-
And he can
he's
create
an-
his own shot.
He's an elite scorer.
Yeah, he can
an
make,
elite
he can
scorer.
create his own shot. Which would be helpful when people are double teaming
Another
the
guy,
low ball.
Walter Clayton Jr. I thought he would have got drafted a little higher.
I'm surprised he went.
They had him at the end of the first round, but they said that in the last 2 days before the draft, he got assurances that he'd be between 17 and 20.
I'm surprised he went, because I thought he was.
I think he went somewhere that can use him though.
Well, I mean,
No, anybody that goes to Washington, they can use him.
No, he's not in Washington. He got traded to Utah,
Oh, he got traded.
which is why I think Utah had the best
Oh.
picks.
Yes,
I-
they Utah.
If Ace
by
Bailey
far.
comes to play, and then they got Clayton, they got two guys that can come in because
Right
Colin
away.
Sexton's going to be gone.
right away. Yes, they got
The agency starts next week.
they've got two guys that can come in right away and could literally put the gas to the pedal.
and make it worth the price of admission, because Utah has a rabid fan base. You give them a team that they can get behind. They got these two young guys, and for right now, they still got who's the forward that's their leading scorer? That's real nice, white dude there. I can't believe I forgot his name.
Kid from Chicago, right?
Yeah, he went there after he left Chicago.
Yeah.
Starts with an L, I think, not Luke. But anyway, he's their leading scorer right now. 2 years ago, he had a really good year, and last year he had some injuries he had to fight through. But they've got some talent there. We know they're going to lose Sexton, but for those two guys to go there and be under control, knowing Utah has a ton of picks, my only problem is, what if they're too good to get? Because I heard they wanted to play for the number one to get DeMonsta next year, and he's already playing in Utah, so that would have been a great get for them. But
Lauru Markkinen.
Marketing, yeah,
Yep.
that's his name.
Yep. So he's already there, but he plays the same position as Bailey pretty much.
Yeah, but he can play the 3 or the 4.
I'd put him at the 4 and go small and put Walker Kessler at center.
Yeah.
But I think they did well with their picks.
I think they won the draft.
Yeah, them, and then I think San Antonio was a close second. And you can't discount what the Suns did if you combine the trade they made that Derek had just mentioned. They got the big kid from Duke.
Yeah.
Then they also traded for Mock, the big guy that should have went to Mock Williams. That he averages 15 and 10. He was hurt a little bit. He didn't pass his physical to go to the Lakers, but he'll start over the kid from Toronto. The kid from Toronto, I didn't realize, didn't stop playing ball until he was 13.
Yeah. Yeah.
Molly Watch or whatever.
Yeah, I can't say his name.
Yeah. But he'll sit behind Mark Williams if Mark Williams is healthy. I'm still surprised they didn't try to get a point guard. Maybe they got somebody tagged in free agency they're going to try to get, but I think they need to get a point guard. Because I don't like Booker having to be the point guard.
Yeah, they might want a veteran now.
But they also got who else did they get?
The Suns.
Yeah.
It
It was one of those weird things. The rights were traded. It was later in the draft.
Well, you got to realize. So I looked at all the trades. A third of the draft was traded. 10 guys were drafted and traded. Either as obviously at some point in time. So there was only 30 picks. 10 of them were traded. 10 of them.
So there was 30 picks. 10 of them were traded, and one team had 5 first-round picks. And I think they're the biggest losers of the draft.
Yeah.
How do you have 5 first-round picks and don't get one impact player? You took 3 questionable point guards that none of them have a secured future. Their number 8 pick was the biggest reach to me. The kid from BYU, Igor Demon. He's 6'8", and he plays the point, but he has a high turnover rate, and he's not a great shooter. He's a great facilitator, but he takes a lot of chances with his passing. I don't know how he's going to defend at the point, unless they're going to put him at point forward, but that was way too high for him. But they kept all their picks. Why not package up 2 of them and move up higher in the draft? I mean, they already had the number 8 and they screwed that up. But you could have gotten another pick in the top 15 that would have been helped. You could have got Derek Queen, or you could have got, somebody else that would have helped you a lot better. And
S&U.
yeah, but they stayed for 5 picks, and you don't have one person that's going to start next year. And I'm mind boggled that 3 of those 5 are point guards. One's a kid from Israel. One is the kid from Barbados that played for France, Nolan Traore.
Yeah.
Ben Saraf is the one from Israel. He's the left-handed guard. The only one that I think can help him, and he's a point forward, is the kid from Michigan, Danny Wolf. But none of those guys are going to ever start a day in the NBA. So how did you get better?
They're just throwing stuff up against the wall and hope it sticks.
3 point guards. Remember Minnesota did that, and they drafted 2 point guards in the top 6 picks.
The kid from overseas, the white kid there.
Yeah, and then they drafted
it's a kid from Syracuse.
Syracuse, yeah, who didn't pan out.
No,
but you had 2 picks, and you took you're telling me your scouting department, you're not trusting them. You're taking 2 point guards. They took
those point guards back to back, pretty much.
Yeah, they were 2 picks apart.
Yeah.
I know it was in the top 6 picks, and they took 2 point guards, but they had 3 and 6 or 3 and 5.
Yeah. So I'm looking at my notes. So the guy that I was referring to, that I thought that kind of got drafted high was Cedric Coward. He was the one that only played 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
He actually
started in the
Washington State.
Washington 3. He was actually in the transfer portal to go to Duke.
Yep.
But he decided to stay in because he got assurance that he was going.
He played well at the NBA. That's what those camps are good.
So the combine, the thing with him was he impressed in his drills. And a lot of scouts, some scouts say, okay, that's good, but when you're playing against no one, that's like a quarterback going back and just letting loose a 70-yard bomb with no pressure on him
and throw and no 100% completion.
Yeah, there's no pressure. So a lot of the scouts were kind of torn. They just didn't see enough for him only playing 6 games.
That combine showed him enough.
But the combine, I don't know.
They said his defense was second to none. There was him and the dude Carter Bryant from Arizona that were both considered the best 3-and-D guys in the draft. And the advantage, Carter Bryant came off the bench for Arizona. Cedric, they said in the first 3 games, he was impressive, and he played against good quality. He was playing in tournaments at the beginning of the year. He held his own, but then when he got to the combine, he did the same type of things against other first-round draft picks. And they said that's where he separated himself and alleviated all those apprehensions about should we take him. The public hasn't seen a lot of them, but the scouts said that he was one of the best defenders. I think he's 6'7". But he's one of the best defenders, and he's going to Memphis, who has that hard-nosed defensive style. They're saying he's going to replace Desmond Bane. They said he could shoot it, and they said that he can play great defense. And don't be surprised if he earns a starting spot alongside Ja Morant or first guy off the bench.
That says a lot. We'll see. So Duke did something again.
Mm-hmm.
They were... Duke, they own the rights to, they broke a couple of records. The top number 1 overall picks. What is it, 5 now?
6,
5 or 6? I can't recall, but I know they own that. And they've also they've done it a second time. Had 3 players drafted in the top 10.
Yep. And then had a 4th go later.
So what they did was It happened a couple other times before that. Florida in 2007 when they had the back-to-back team.
That was
Horford,
Horford and the other big
Nola.
man.
Corey Brewer, and
Noah.
Yannick Noah. 3, 7, and 9 they went. All right. And Duke did it not too long ago with Zion, with RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish. They went 1, 3, and 10. So they've done, and the craziest part about it was, so if you looked, if you looked, I think things started to change. Like I want to say probably in the early 2000s, North Carolina was pumping out the better pros. And then it slowly changed over. Now Duke is the one that is pumping out the better pros.
After Coach K.
Well, I wouldn't say
Coach K
after
started.
Coach K. Coach K, because Coach K was still there when Zion was there.
That was his last year.
That was his last year. Yeah. I wouldn't say that, but I think the trend started changing in the early 2000s. Maybe like around 2007, 2006.
You think they were pushing out
2008.
better pros then?
Yeah. The trends. Well, just think about it. In the last,
Elton Brand.
in the last, let's go back the last 10 years. Can you sit here and name, we'll go back 10 years. Can you sit here and definitively name a North Carolina player that you could say was okay, that, came to your mind in 10 years? Who was the
Especially
biggest
somebody
problem?
that was drafted in the top 5 picks.
It's not. You can't find it. Now, if you go back 15 years, you can find a few. This is my point. I think it started to change, like around 2007, 2008, the pendulum started to swing. Duke had always had the better college players, but their talent really didn't transcend into the pros.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. You think about some of the guys in the 90s. You had Bobby Hurley's. You had just that group alone. There was only one guy that made it in that group, and that was Grant Hill.
Oh, Grant Hill, yeah.
You had Leitner, who was considered probably the most decorated Duke player of all time.
Right, the most decorated college player. Of all
Yeah,
time.
no, for Duke. For Duke.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the most, but his talent didn't translate over to the NBA. And this is what I'm saying. I want to say that in the around that time, you started to see the pendulum swing. It started now Duke, they're just pumping out, because let's face it, Duke was never known for one and dones.
Yeah.
And now they are. And now they are.
Yep.
They are, they get these guys and they're one and done. So yeah, they did something.
Like Kyrie played what, 4 games and he was drafted number 1.
Yeah, he only played a few games.
4.
I know it wasn't more than 10. No. But yeah, I would say, how do you think your team did individually? But Steve can't answer that question.
Well, that was a point I was going to bring up later on in this discussion. Was there was so many teams that went for it in the last 2 years that they salvaged all their draft picks. LA didn't have no picks. Milwaukee didn't have no picks. Denver didn't have no picks. The Knicks didn't have no picks. All the teams, you wonder how Brooklyn, they were the trade partners for everybody. Yeah. How the hell did Brooklyn end up with 5 number 1s? But Milwaukee.
But see, you got to remember. So just think back of when the big 3 left. All they did was they took on salary to get these picks, right? Think back 8 years ago. Who was the shitty team, right? OKC. Everybody went to OKC. Now it's all paying dividends. They've got all these number 1 picks. All right.
They had 2 this year, and they kept one, the kid Sorba from Georgetown, because he fits a need. But they traded the other one.
Yeah.
They'll get it back down the road.
Yeah, they're not worried
right
about
now.
It. They're not.
No,
worried.
they
want to stash them.
So you trying to tell me they're going to get rid of one of their big men?
No, just depth.
No,
behind Hartenstein.
No, all you do is if you're smart and you continue to do what he's been doing, is you draft the talent, you develop them. No rush.
Yeah.
There's no rush because
you
let's
have
face it,
guys
right?
there right now.
You've got an average age of 25.6 years. All right. And they're not facing any of the problems that the Boston Celtics were facing, the Denver Nuggets were facing, because as I tried to make a point in one of my posts, okay, as I tried to make a point in one of my posts, the team who typically wins the NBA championship tends to overpay the following year. Okay, they're almost like Oprah. You get a contract extension, you get a contract extension, everybody gets contract extensions.
Then it's time to pay everyone.
And then the following year when they lose, they're like, oh shit. You know what? I think we kind of screwed up.
Yeah.
Now, henceforward, you do what the Celtics are doing. You're shedding salary because it did not work out. It's time to turn the page. Turn the page. You cannot stay stuck on a group of guys, who didn't win, who underachieved, and also coupled with your number one superstar being hurt. You have to morph into something different, and this is where we're at. But this, getting back to 7 years ago, the OKC. Do you remember? So
when they blew up their big three, right?
It was after that. But do you remember some of the players that were on OKC? One of them currently, was the Celtics and didn't even get off the bench.
He's a Celtic now.
And didn't even get off the bench. Went there. He was forgotten about. He was part of a trade asset. Al Horford went there. He went there from Philly.
Cup of coffee.
From Philly. He was just a salary dump.
Yeah.
And then guess where he came back to? Boston.
Yeah.
They were just taking on salary because they had nothing. And they were like, okay, we'll take him. Give us the number one pick. We'll take him. Give us the number one pick. We'll take him. Now what do they have? They have 10 number one picks in the next 5 years. That's silly.
There it is.
That's silly. But it comes down to one thing. You better be able to draft. When that time comes up, don't do like the Knicks are doing. I mean, not the Knicks, the Nets.
The Nets.
Don't do like the
No
Nets.
idea what they were doing.
Do
I was
not
kind of excited for them.
Do not do like the
You
Nets are
think
doing.
You think they picked them guys just to try and trade them somewhere?
But why?
Why 3-point
Oh,
guards?
I don't know.
But not in the first
that's
round.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't
But not-
understand it.
But this is my thinking,
And their
right?
top player is a free agent this year. They're trying to resign him, Cam Johnson.
This is what I'm looking, right? So if you are a team with the stature of the Nets, you want to try to go in different routes, not point guard.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, you can go and get a point guard free agency.
Yes.
You're nowhere near the salary cap. You're nowhere near the first or the second apron. So you don't have to keep throwing dots at point guards.
I don't get it either. But I'm just.
It's just bad. It's bad management.
There's got to be a method to this madness.
Yeah, bad ownership group because I don't
Bad
understand
management.
what they're doing.
I mean,
And to a lesser degree, we already talked about one of the fledgling franchise earlier in the show when you talked about Concanippo. Do you know who they got in their second pick of the first round? He's a local product. Liam McNeely,
Kid from Connecticut.
Connecticut. What position does he play? Oh, shooting guard, small forward. What position does Concanippo play? Shooting guard, small forward. They're throwing dots. They drafted two people at the same position. Neither one of them are going to start. So one of them is not. It's like they're going to compete with each other to see which one can stick with them. And then I don't know what they're going to do with the other, but they're both first round picks. And I don't understand why they drafted redundancy too. You drafted two shooting guards, small forwards, and Brooklyn drafted 3-point guards. I don't get it.
But you can put one at either or.
Yeah, but they're not starting over the people that are currently there.
But I'm saying, but they can sub, they can back, but 3-point guards is.
And I don't even know who Brooklyn has as a point guard already. They've got to have a point guard on the roster that's probably better than all those. I thought there was so much talent. Brooklyn, if I was them, You had 5 picks. I would have packaged up 2 of them to move up.
Yeah.
And I would have just got 3 quality plays. You blew your first pick taking that dude at number 8. Igor Demon. He's not going to be an impact player. He's going to be more of a point forward, and he's going to have to learn to shoot the ball better and turn the ball over less. You can't be one of the highest turnover ratio guys in college basketball and then step into the NBA and play point guard.
They see the potential.
But those are the losers. But did you guys really have anybody that stood out as you liked what they did?
Oh, so I'm looking at you know who they have for point guards? Tyson Etienne.
Travis Etienne, he's a running back.
Yeah, I know. DeAnthony Melton, and Reese Beekman. Those are their point guards currently on their roster.
So they needed a point guard. They needed 2, actually.
They needed 3.
But they don't got one that's an NBA caliber starter. The kid Traore from France is probably their best bet.
Well,
but he's fast and out of control.
Well,
super quick.
I mean, so you get one, and then one doesn't pan out. So now, right away, that first round draft pick cost you a first round, and he's gonna drop.
Cut him.
He's gonna drop.
You're gonna send him to the
in
G League?
trade value. He's gonna drop in trade value. Teams are gonna be like, yeah, nah.
Whoever 2 make out, whoever 2 earn positions on that team will stay, and the third will go down to the G League.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Or they'll be included in a future trade with somebody, hoping. But who'd you really like? Because they were so easy to find some things that we questioned. But
I like I said, I like obviously what Utah did. They got 2 bona fide players right away.
And so did San Antonio.
Proven. These guys, I mean, you don't need to run a highlight film on each one of those guys. And what I liked about with Walter Clayton Jr., they brought up I didn't even know this, but they brought up when before the draft they were talking about him being a highly recruited football player.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. Defensive back,
and quarterback.
But he was recruited for the defensive back.
Yes.
At Florida.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't even recruited by Florida. He wanted to go and play, but they didn't look at him. They were more interested in basketball, and he was like,
that was his main sport.
He was like, yeah, I could. There's a possibility that I could be a 2-sport athlete here, but they weren't interested in him. Florida wasn't interested in him. You got to remember, Florida gets all 5-star recruits.
And remember, he started off playing for Rick Pitino.
That's right. That's right.
A smaller school there.
Yeah, it was a small 1A school that he played at.
Cornell? Pitino coached somewhere here before when he first got introduced back into college after a scandal. He coached somewhere here in New York on the East Coast.
Before St. John's, I forget.
It was in New York, but
so I mean, I like him. He kind of, when you look at him, he kind of reminds me of maybe a step down, but he kind of reminds me of Murray. In the way he, he's built, his the way he plays. Jamal Murray.
All right. I was going to say old friend Drew Holiday.
Yeah. Well,
because he's also Walter Clayton 6'5".
Is he 6'5"?
Yeah.
I thought he was like 6'3".
He's a big guy. He can shoot it.
His body.
He doesn't turn the ball over.
He's got the body type.
And he's not afraid to take the last shot.
Oh, no. He's proven. We've seen that. Clutch.
Yeah.
We've seen that.
Rick Pitino's Iona.
It was a New York school.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's got an NBA ready body. He's got an NBA ready body to go with it. Spurs. I mean, what can you say about the Spurs? They whacked a draft out the ballpark last year with 2, not 1 but 2.
Yeah.
So it's just like okay, we can just keep going and going and going, and it looks like they're doing the same thing.
Dylan Harper's a 1 or a 2.
Dylan Harper's a 1.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I worried about them taking him. But they said you got to take the best player. I thought they might surprise us and take Ace Bailey because they have an opening at like the small forward spot. But Dylan Hopper, they said graded out so much better. And the kid from UConn, that Stephon Castle, he plays the 1 and 2.
Yep.
And then they have De'Aaron Fox.
Yep.
So
that's why I was.
They're gonna let them all play for 1 year, and I bet you De'Aaron Fox gets shown the door if these two kids step up because they'll be the young core that will play with Wemby.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate Jeremy Sokan and there's another person that they have. They said that were off limits in all trade talks. But Sohan, Jeremy Sohan or whatever his name is, he had a little bit of injury last year, but he's like a 6'9", do-it-all type of guy too. But I would have kind of liked to see them. I mean, I don't want to discredit Dylan Hopper because he's awesome, but I would like to have seen them take Ace Bailey and then ride because you already committed to De'Aaron Fox for a while. De'Aaron Fox is not that old either. You can build with him.
He's not old.
He might be the senior citizen on that squad.
Did he just get a contract?
I want to.
He got a contract when he was with the
Kings.
Yep.
But I believe
so. He's got to be in his 6th year. He's got to be in his 6th year.
But I believe he's played 2 years on that contract now, or at least he just finished the first
7.
year.
He's only 27.
Yeah, but he came in after 1 year in college. He was 19. That's 8 years.
Okay, so 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years going.
First year is 4.
Yeah. So yeah, he's going.
But
so
I heard his
he's already
contract's
on
up in like
contract.
Yeah, but his next contract wasn't super long. It might be like 2 more years on it.
Yeah.
So they can see what they got in De'Aaron Fox, see what type of leader, because he's the only true point guard. Those other two, I'd be more than happy to bring Dylan Hopper in as my super sub 6 guy, 6 man.
Yeah.
You can bring him in at either guard position. That's what people are underestimating. You want to bring him in for Fox, he can play point guard. You want to bring him in for Castle, he can play shooting guard. And he's super athletic, and he's a big guard as well.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the best interviews I liked when he got drafted because they had his brother who got drafted, Ron Hopper Jr., and his mom sitting at the table with him. Ron Hopper and them were there, but Ron, I don't think his parents are together anymore.
No.
But he had a Filipino mom. Him and his brother.
His mom got the MILF award.
Oh yeah, well there was a few of them, but
his mom got number 1 award.
But you could tell the relationship he has with his mom is incredible.
Yeah.
And Ron Hopper was there supporting too, but they didn't bring him up together. I thought they would have interviewed Ron Hopper, seeing that he played in the league. They interviewed mom and they interviewed both the brothers.
Maybe
he probably didn't want it.
Maybe
he has
one or two things.
He has a speech impediment. He stutters.
No,
Yeah.
his speech it's gone. He's
sure?
Yeah.
I know. I forgot about that though. He did have that.
He cleared it up. The speech impediment. He cleared it up. He went from really being really bad to just a smidge of which one. But there's 2 ways of looking at it. Maybe he didn't want to overshadow his son.
Yeah.
And are they still together?
I don't think so. I thought Ron Hopper was sitting with somebody else.
He was sitting with his daughter.
Oh, maybe.
He was sitting with his daughter. But that's the thing. It's either A, not together, B.
Why not interview them together if they were together?
Exactly.
But there was a reason why they didn't.
He was John and he was like,
Yeah, it was like the first thing is Ron Hopper still married.
yeah, well,
First
yeah,
thing.
everybody's but yeah, so I mean, I
No,
don't know.
Ron Hopper is not currently married.
See,
He
there you
divorced
go.
his ex-wife Maria Pizarro in 2012.
There we
Yeah,
go.
right after his career ended.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, so maybe they weren't on good speaking terms. Maybe maybe I don't know. We don't know, but there was definitely something there. Him not being on the same table, he was more off to the side than like instead of at the main green room table.
But I saw like 3 moms that were very high profile because Con Knippel's mom got a lot of love. She was really nice looking. Not that Cooper Flag's
not
mother.
Con Knippel.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Is it Con
Blonde
Knippel's
girl.
mother?
Yeah. Cooper Flag's.
Oh wait. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Cooper
I'm
Flag's
thinking
mom.
Cooper Flag's
His
mom.
mom.
Well, Cooper
is not.
Flag's mom wasn't,
Yeah.
but she spoke a lot.
Yeah.
The father played the background. I didn't know the mom's the all-time leading scorer at whatever college she played at. I don't know if it was University of Maine,
No, the high school.
high school,
The
but
high school.
both parents played ball.
Yeah.
The father and the mother, but the mother was the all-time leading scorer
Yeah,
somewhere.
the mother was.
I think they said she went to Maine.
I thought they said there was a small Division I school that she was.
They
the
said that
all-time
she
leading
was.
scorer.
I could have swore they said that she was the all-time leader in the high school, and she did play some college basketball.
Now, when we were talking about, I thought I could see them taking Ace Bailey because he could slide in a small forward. But what did they do at pick 14? They took a small forward. And it was between him and the guy that you said only played 6 games, Cedric Howard.
Cedric Howard, yeah.
Carter Bryant was the 6th man for Arizona. He averaged 6 points and 4 rebounds.
She went to the University of Maine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And 80, 98 and 99.
Mm-hmm. But Carter Bryant is somebody that they said will eventually become a starter because he's a 3-and-D guy. He can shoot the 3. He's a great athlete. And they said that he can lock people up on defense. So when you look on a team where now you got Dylan Hopper, you got the 3-headed monster at guide, you got Victor, you got Jeremy. So Carter Bryant doesn't need to score. No pressure. Just go out there and give me energy. Shut somebody down that nobody else wants to do and be able to hit a open 3.
He's only 19.
Who?
Carter Bryant.
Yeah, he was a freshman who was off the bench. So he played real well at the combines too, because I'm like, I didn't even know who Carter Bryant or Cedric Howard were until the combine started pumping them up, saying they could make it into the first round, and then they could be in the lottery. I was like, no way, they were both in the lottery because Carter Bryant was the last pick of the lottery. So the Spurs took the best available player and still got a guy who is going to help them right away. So their depth just got real nice because they got the 3 guards. They got Wemby, they got Sohan, and they got this guy.
Be playing
Who?
Is Wemby gonna be able to play next year?
Yeah. He had
blood. Yeah,
it was kind of scary though, but
they won't. So
blood clot in his shoulder.
It was more of
precautionary.
They didn't want to put him in the way of harm
because
I mean,
what NBA player had that ended his career? Was it the kid from Toronto? That went to Miami, Chris Bosh.
Yeah, Bosh.
He had the same thing. It turned into a degenerative shoulder because he didn't deal with it early enough.
I want to say there was another one too.
I know Chris Bosh was one.
I know Chris Bosh was
because that's the medical reason why he stopped playing. But I mean, I like what they did, and the Spurs and Utah did very well for themselves.
Hey, do you have the comments on? Yeah, none.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I don't know. My page isn't active. So
I don't know. It might be acting up again. It was fine before.
I just had somebody text me like, "Yo, you're not on tonight," and I'm like, "Yeah, I am." They're like, and then I checked, I'm not live, but I saw Kevin live.
Yeah, I don't know. I may have something maybe going on. I didn't check. Your page might have its whatchamacallit expired. I see a red line up there. Like I was saying, I can't ask you, but
I'm not really.
You got somebody in mind for the second round.
I'm not really familiar with this guy, so I can't.
Hey, we just talked about how the French are really putting out a lot of talent the last 3 or 4 years, a lot, and he's not going to be an impact player. But when you get somebody that's 19 years old, that you can mold. They're playing for the future because the kid they took last year, he did all right. And he was a young buck. Wasn't he only 1 year in college, the kid that you took last year?
Yeah.
So it's going to take a while, but you're putting quality people together. You know, you don't know him now, but you will know him soon.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
I don't know anything about this kid, Hugo Gonzalez. I mean, I did see
he
a
played
lot
overseas.
he played overseas. He's an overseas kid.
High motor.
Yeah.
Good character.
So what I'm thinking is as I look into the Celtics roster, all right, obviously he's a wing. So you got to look at this, right? You got to look at, is he going to be better than somebody who I think is probably going to get extended minutes, and a guy like Drew Peterson? He's going to get extended minutes.
Who?
Drew Peterson. He's basically like Sam Hauser, but more athletic.
And he's in the Celtics organization?
Yeah, he played last year a lot.
I think the other kid from Creighton is going to be at his position
what,
too.
Number 50?
The shooter they took from Creighton last year.
Was it number 51? Or 55. He wore 55, the white kid.
from Creighton.
I don't know where he was from.
Oh no, they Showerman.
Baylor Shireman?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a crazy.
yeah,
deal.
yeah, yeah.
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 He played with the kid they got their eye on at the second pick this year.
He-
The big guy. The center.
So Peterson, when given the chance, I mean, last year he ended up at one game, he ended up with, I think, 24, 25 points.
Yeah, he had
He-
like six
can-
threes or something.
Yeah,
like
he can shoot, and he's a bigger, like I said, he's a bigger version of what's his name?
Hauser.
Hauser. He's a bigger version.
Well, I think Hauser
athletic.
might be
6'9".
part of the casualties
He's
this
6'9".
year. If they can find a way to move him,
He's 6'9".
then the
But-
other guys will have more.
But why?
Huh?
Why do you think that?
Because they still need. They're under by like
They're under the
4
second
million.
apron. They're under the second,
but they're barely
they're over
under
the
it.
first apron.
Yeah.
Under the second apron.
They want to get lower, and Hauser, I think, got 10 million.
Yeah, he was another guy that got. Here you go.
So if
It's like-
you got Baylor Shireman and you got the guy he's talking about, and you just drafted somebody else at that same position, to me that tells me the writing's on the wall. They might start the year off with Hauser to see how he plays in an extended role,
I look at it this way.
but
I
at the
look-
price he's
I
getting,
look at it this way. So it's all about positioning. Where are they next year? Or I should say this year. Oh no, next year. Come trade deadline. If they are underperforming less, then you make him a trade value. You
Yeah,
feature
like,
him.
you don't just cut him.
You
Get
feature him.
something.
no, I wouldn't think you'd cut
No,
him,
you
but I
don't
said
cut him, no.
I think that he's one
No,
of the
he'll be
people they're looking to
He'll
trade
be
next.
picked up in a minute, a hot minute.
The first two were obvious that everybody knew as soon as the season ended that the two people with the high contracts, Holiday and Porzingis, that didn't take long. But I think Hauser would be the next guy on the block because I think Horford did officially retire.
Yeah, I think they said he did.
Yeah, when we were talking about it before, we weren't
They don't-
sure, but I'm
so-
pretty sure that he didn't want to, but they were like, we're not going to bring you back.
Yeah, and he made $20 million.
Yeah. So once that comes off the books, they might be able to keep Hauser. But if both those moves happen,
So they currently we were talking about what do what do you think the Celtics might do? They're gonna go after big. They don't. Luke Cornett is a free agent. Al Horford's retired. Then you have the next biggest guy would be Cater.
he's going to stay because of his salary.
Yeah,
But my thing
there's
is-
interest in Cornett.
My
I
thing
think.
with the Dominican leaving, can't remember.
Al Horford.
Al Horford. Do you try to sign Cornett?
Well, he's going to get outpriced. Somebody's going to overpay. For him.
Yeah, somebody's
Somebody's going to overpay.
I would
for him.
showcase him and try to get
Actually,
a little more
he
than what
actually
he's
got-
really worth.
He actually got better offers last year.
Yeah.
More money from other teams, but as a courtesy thing,
He
and
stayed.
he wanted to run it back. I don't think it's going to happen again. I don't.
I
think it
tell you
happens
what,
again.
that kid played his ass off.
He
Yeah.
did,
Well, he's smart. He plays smart. He
but
doesn't play. He doesn't play.
He
doesn't
goes
play-
he goes to the rim and catches.
yeah,
Yes.
but he might use this year as a showcase for himself to
course.
bet on himself,
Of
and then next year he gets even more money. And like Brian said, he already got offered more money than the Celtics. Now this year he's like, I'm going to do a solid for both of us. I'm going to stay and help the transition, but if I get offered 20, if he gets a Hottenstein contract next year,
Oh, he won't get a hot sign.
well,
I mean, you got to remember he's.
it'll
lot
be a
longer in
similar
the tooth.
situation, but
He's a lot
not.
longer in the tooth. He's not as nearly as athletic. I don't think he's.
He blocks shots.
He blocks shots. No, he plays smart.
And he can shoot it.
He plays smart. He doesn't look to shoot. He doesn't look to shoot. And the surprising thing,
he goes
when
to
he
the rack and
first
catches.
when he first came into the league, he was known as a shooter, 3-point shooter.
Really?
Yes, for the Knicks. He was an original draft pick from the Knicks.
I don't
I remember
Go
he can
back
hit the
and
three.
see.
That's why I
Yes.
said he can shoot
He
it.
was I don't think he took a 3-pointer this year.
Then he should be kicked off the Celtics because
No,
they make
because-
you make you take like 10 threes a game.
No,
each.
for him when he's in, his job. I go to the left block. I set a pick. I go to the left elbow. I set a pick. If that doesn't happen, I go to the right. Then I roll.
And he caught a lot of alley.
Then I roll. That's it. I mean, he's just a smart player. He's a smart player. He doesn't go outside of anything he can do. He hustles, and that's all you can ask for. To me, he's a great backup center.
Yeah.
He's more than serviceable. As a starter, I think you might, once again, you're limited. He played against a lot of times. He played against obviously
Other
the second
teams.
team,
Yeah.
which he was better than. When you put him against the first team center, that's a different story. Now you might be pushing it because especially when you look at a lot of the new centers that are coming in, these are guys that are pick and roll guys that sit, they edge their feet on that 3-point line. As we get younger, you see the effect of a lot of these guys, a lot of the big guys being able to step out and shoot it. It's no longer, it's no longer a foul line and shoot from there. They're pushing it back now.
Yo, I forget who I was talking with, but it might have been Kevin. I can't remember, but we were saying in 7 years or less, your point guard's going to be 6'10", your shooting guard's going to be 6'11", and then it's going to be nobody.
Oh, look at SGA and them and Halliburton are 6'6".
Yeah, but
you know, and
I mean, what I'm saying,
I remember when that was a small forward.
Yeah,
an off guard.
Yeah.
You know, off guard used to be 6'3", 6'2". Now that's a point guard, and everything.
Yeah,
everybody's just getting bigger.
The evolution of the positions are just getting bigger and bigger.
Not for nothing. Look at Wemby. That boy can handle the ball.
Yeah.
And not for nothing, so can Chat. Like these guys are 7-footers, and they can handle the ball like a 2 or 3 spot.
The thing is now, it's like, okay, you might be 6'9", but it doesn't, and this is another argument we can get into is it's AAU, it's AAU based. No longer is AAU saying, okay, put your back to the basket. Nope, we want you to face up. We want you to be a true triple threat.
Not for nothing. Like Jason Tatum, he's what, 6'8", 6'9".
6'9", 6'10".
Yeah, he handles a rock like.
Yeah, no.
We finally got a comment.
It's no
hugs, Kev. No hugs.
It's
see, it was Kevin.
Positionless now, just like the All-Star game.
That's the first one I saw pop up.
But yeah, that's just how it is. Anything else we need to make about the
draft?
draft?
You mentioned about the Duke having 3 people in the top 10. You know what also happened? All 4 members of Montverde Academy got drafted in the first round too.
Yeah.
It was Cooper, it was Derek Queen, it was Liam McNeely because he was the last one, and Asa Newell, who went to the Hawks.
Hey, you know what else I noticed since Big Kevin's listening and watching?
I don't know Big Kev.
Ain't Skinny Kev. I mean.
Oh yeah.
Ain't nobody from North Carolina get drafted.
Hey, going back.
Why are you scaring off our one comment?
Going back to the original point,
Mm-hmm.
Kev. I don't know if you were listening, but we made a comparison.
Duke and NC.
What's your
North
favorite
Carolina.
2 schools?
If you can go back, seeing you're a Duke, you're a Duke. Excuse me, you're a North Carolina.
You're a Duke guy.
You're a North. No, I'm sorry.
You're a Duke
seeing you're a
Kev
North
says
Carolinian, and you want, you got a lot of love from. I made a point, and let's see if you can you agree or you disagree with this, that and somewhere around the 2008-2009 season, somewhere around there, North Carolina stopped pumping out better pros, and
no top 10 prospects.
Duke
in a while.
has taken over that signature line of turning out the better pros. We were trying to think. We were like, let's go back 10 years and think of the better. If you can go back 10 years ago, who was Duke's best prospect? Who was North Carolina's best prospect in the draft, in the modern day draft? We know in the 90s and the very early 2000s, it was big time North Carolina, without a doubt. And even going back to the 80s, if you want to talk about, some of the plays,
not even close.
It wasn't even close.
Duke didn't have anybody.
The Duke people weren't panning out.
Duke had Jaminski and shit like that. Like,
well, they had Johnny Dawkins.
Yeah, Johnny Dawkins, but he didn't turn into a good pro.
No, it didn't translate.
They were system people when they played at Duke.
But yeah, so we had talked about it earlier that the Duke is now dominating in the modern era draft. We talked about them. They've got
it started with the number 1 picks. I mean, because they had the most number 1 picks.
They've now got two out of the 3 draft classes to be 3 guys to be drafted in the top 10. And they've done it in less than 6 years apart from one another. So that goes to show you the dominance and how Duke is putting out the better pros at this point in time.
And before I forget, I want to just cap off the draft by saying we know that the NCAA basketball puts out most of the people that go into the draft. Then we're seeing a lot of influx from the overseas players every year, more and more. But what's the third feeding system that, for the first time, we didn't see one person get drafted from?
From the D League?
Not one first round pick.
So would you say the G League?
Yeah.
Well, they made that point yesterday.
Every other year they've had 2 or 3 people at the top.
Well, it doesn't make any sense now to you can.
Oh, because the NIL deal.
Yes, you can make. So you remember how they had like overtime elite? And all those-
Yeah.
You don't have. You can go to school and make money. So those are going to be few and far between. Unless the only way you go that route is if you completely don't want to go to school.
Yeah.
And
That'd be dumb.
They got somebody that
Stay in
might be
school.
drafted in the second round, but I was just like, yeah, if you can get an education, but some people aren't meant for school.
Not even education. It's school. It's college. Like you're the big man on campus.
Yeah.
Some kids just don't.
But you better bet on being a one and done if you don't have the academic acumen.
So now,
because if you have to stay a second year and you flunk out.
So now those.
But I'm that guy. You're the book guy.
So
Steve, I'm getting this money here. Do my homework.
Now those programs, the overtime elites and stuff, they were paying like, I don't know, $100 and something thousand or whatever. That's chump change.
That's a good point because I underestimated that. I was
No, that's
why
chump
is there
change.
nobody from the G League this year? Last
Nope,
year they had
it's-
2 people in the top 10. Every other year they had
it's-
Jalen Green and them playing.
It's a lot smarter to go to school and to divvy up on the NIL deals.
So that was done purposely because college must have looked at them as being a threat and said, "Oh yeah, well we'll pay the college after."
Well, we did say that when we had the show, when guys were getting drafted, but then the NIL came out and it just exploded. Now you ain't got to worry about money now. It's there. It's legal and they can put it in your hand and you can still go to school. If something were to happen to you, I mean, hopefully you're that school guy. You still have the education to fall back on. You still have that college degree, that piece of paper. But yeah, anything else about the draft?
Not only like just to piggyback on something like that, like, but before, like even before the college kids was getting paid, weren't they getting like insurance if they got hurt?
Yeah, people were buying Lloyd's. That was in football mostly.
No, it was in basketball too. It was in basketball too.
It's in basketball.
So I can't remember who it was. They had like $1 million.
Do their arms.
They had $1 million. They had $1 million on their ankles or their legs or something like
but
that.
that's you would only get insured if you were a can't miss product. You couldn't be like
with
guy,
no pre-existing terms.
You gotta prove your value with insurance. Just like
I remember hearing that.
They used to do that. Yeah, it used to be done before, just to protect you in the event of injury. It's a smart thing.
So you couldn't be a D3 guy and get $1 million on your legs?
No. They'll be like, yeah, I want to go in and insure my leg for $3 million. Let me see the value.
my senior year. My leg is.
Let me see the value and how you plan on making future earnings.
My pride is hurt for life. I didn't get drafted,
but I got $3 million from.
I'm just saying.
Now you could be like, I'm suffering from anxiety and depression, what all these high school kids do now.
All right, so we'll move on. We'll move on from the draft. In case you didn't know, round 2 tonight. 8 o'clock.
Is there anybody you're surprised that didn't get drafted, or because to me the first 15 picks was all I really cared about. After that, I was like projects.
Yeah, no. So this is the difference in the NBA as opposed to the NFL. In the NFL,
I was still interested in the second.
Yeah, you can go and because there's more players, there's more positions, there's less players. Less
roster.
There you go. In the NBA, you only have a 15-man roster. 52. You know,
is it
52?
Yeah, 52.
Right. It's still a lot more than 12.
In the NBA, well, you're forgetting about the guys that you can hide over in the G League. But this is the thing. You know, and his argument for LeBron's kid. It's like, yeah, nobody's concerned. Yeah, nobody is concerned, but nobody's concerned. But people are concerned when you get a 2-year, a guaranteed 2-year deal when nobody else has done it. So there's arguments for and against. The argument for, nobody cares after the 15, but we do care because we've never seen a guy get that amount of money. It just it doesn't match. There's arguments for both sides. You can go either or. But yeah, we'll move on. Part 2 tonight. You guys got a pick in the second round?
I think the Celtics are taking the kid from Creighton.
That's not what he asked.
No, you.
Oh, do we got a pick? I thought you meant like a pick. Like
No. You got a pick. I know we got picks.
we do. And I saw it. They highlighted who Milwaukee was targeting, and I think it's not Tennessee, but
47.
47.
he was the leading scorer wherever, 19.3 a game. And they said he would be perfect because he's like 6'9", 6'10", and can do similar stuff to Giannis. So they said when he's out the game, he could take up a lot of the scoring burden on that second team. But I just can't remember his name right now or what school he came from. But, you know.
Oh, so Giannis's brother isn't coming back?
No.
Hey, you know what's crazy? Who had the 55th pick last year?
Lakers.
They get the 55th pick?
They had the 55th pick this year, but they traded it to the Bulls.
Yeah. They traded away a lot. So yeah, let's talk about the new NBA champion, the
Well deserved.
Oklahoma City.
And before we get into anything on that, I just want to point something out. Everybody talk crap about how the ratings are going to be and this, that, and everything else, right?
I posted it.
The most watched finals in the last 6 years, Game 7.
Yep.
16.53 million viewers is what they average, peaking at 19.28 million during the second half. And it was so competitive. What do you think the final point differential was between the two teams? A little more than that, 12.
Oh! I thought you meant the average. The average.
No, the total.
Yeah.
Between all, you play 7 games and it's separated by 12 points. Basketball's the games of runs, ebb and flows. Somebody's going to get blown out here and there.
119, 116. That was the average.
Yeah.
Of all 17.
But they
said,
said, all right, so 7 times 3 would have been 21 points. Only 12 points separated them. It was one of the most competitive and hard fought, which makes the injury that much hard because you want to say what if. But
and like we said, if there's that if Hallie stays in the game,
you would have a good game.
That's a lot. That could either that could
it wasn't a blowout.
I'm sorry. 109, 106. 109 for
OKC.
For OKC, 106 for, and that was the out of all 7 games when averaged all out. That was the average score. 3 points separated by 3 points.
That's crazy.
Yes, I posted that. But there's a spin to that too. When was the last Game 7? The last Game
Golden
7
State
was Golden State. Yes, Golden State.
Boston, right?
With Cleveland.
With Cleveland. It didn't go 7.
And Kyrie went berserk and
no, when
in Game
the block,
6.
the infamous block.
Yeah.
That was the last.
But Kyrie was playing with Cleveland then.
Yes. So there's a spin to that when they say, "Oh, it was the most." There hasn't been a Game 7, and I think it's been 10 years.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Getting Michael Jordan on. That was a Game 7.
Yeah. There hasn't been many Game 7s. Most of the games have been decided by Game 6. And we've watched that in Boston in the last 5 years. You've had them getting beat in Game 6 and them winning in Game 6. But yeah, it's a little misleading when you look at it, because now you're talking about you're going over into another decade. I did see that because when I read it, they were like, "Yeah, it's been a lot." But when you match it to the Game 7s, it's been a while.
But when the matchups first became final,
yeah,
I was like, it's going to be competitive because I said at the beginning the Pacers were surprised. I didn't think when we said I don't think Milwaukee has a chance, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go pretty far. They deserve to be there, and so did OKC. And they had so many similarities with the long benches and the point guys that do everything.
Yep.
It was every reason to watch it. And the thing that struck me funny was basketball is the only sport you'd see that in. In football, if it was Green Bay and Pittsburgh, it doesn't matter because they're rich dynasties or whatever. They're rich, but Pittsburgh's a small market. Green Bay is a small market, but you don't have to have LA and New York and Boston and all them playing. But in basketball, the ratings took a dip. Huh?
That's the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl's like the most watched.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it.
Super
It's
Bowl,
it's
but you
the
had
most
7 games in the NBA that
I know.
come close to the average of that one.
Yeah.
Super Bowl has hundreds of millions of people.
Super Bowl is the most watched
Yep.
in North America. It's the
Outside of soccer.
That's what I'm saying. In North
Yep.
America is the most watched game in all sports.
Event, period.
yeah.
Most watched TV show is a Super Bowl.
So it's like it's like apples and oranges. But the thing is, what we saw, what we witnessed is good quality basketball.
I didn't get to watch a lot of it, but just watching the highlights and stuff, I was so impressed because you couldn't get on either side too much. People, I would watch the professionals and I would laugh because when they lost, they'd be like, "Oh, they're done if they don't make these adjustments." And then the next day, the other team would win and they'd be doing the same thing. Okay, so you better do this.
Yep.
They were counting people out so quick and jumping. I said, "Yo, it's going to be a 7-game series." Like these teams were so evenly matched, mainly because of their depth, their hunger, their style of play, and I think they'll both be there or close to there next year, with or without Halliburton. I think the Pacers are going to still be
They're
pretty decent.
They're going to be contenders because
they're going to go out and get somebody.
They have depth now.
Point guard.
Looking at them and moving forward, they only have one impending free agent. That's Miles Turner.
And
They let him go?
He's been there for 10 years.
No, I don't think from what's out there to what you're getting, I think he fits perfect with that team. But here's another point. They are under the luxury tax. They're not even near the first apron.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. Siakam might be their highest paid person.
They're not even under. They're not even. Where's? I got it right here.
So they can spend money.
Pacers are projected to be under the $189 million cap by $20 million.
And I think it goes up to $200 million
by
next year.
By
every year it goes up the salary
by $20 million. So the only impending free agent is Miles Turner. Everybody else is returning. And I did read something else that was interesting. If you look at the roster makeup of the Pacers, it's a bunch of people who were giving up on him, right?
Halliburton.
Yep.
I don't think he was giving up on. I just thought people said he got value. I can get something for him, but he felt giving up because he wanted to stay in Sacramento longer.
I felt they gave up on him.
So think about it. Obi Toppin.
Then they gave up on Fox.
Obi Toppin.
They did.
Yeah, Obi Toppin. TJ McConnell.
Well, he's disrespected. People are like,
he was in Philly.
Yeah. Who else? There's another person.
Well, their guards, Nemhard and them weren't highly drafted people. Naismith.
Yes,
Boston.
Celtics gave up on him. That's who I was thinking of. Naismith. There are a bunch of guys who were cast off, who all came together and who molded into like the perfect team at the right time. Mm-hmm. If you remember how they started off, it was horrendous.
Yeah, they didn't start off too well.
So the first game they played against the first game that they played against Boston dropped 155 points on them. And their
defense was horrible.
Up until Christmas, they were considered the worst. They had the worst defense. It was almost like watching. It was almost like, you laugh, but it was almost like watching Denver play against when they gave up all those points in football. When they played,
it was 55 than that. No, it was higher than that.
70.
70, yeah. When they played, and then the turnaround this year, it's like something clicked in
Miami.
Miami. It was like something.
The personnel didn't change drastically.
No,
just the scheme and the effort.
Yes.
Denver's defense got a lot better.
Yeah, but they had the same 75-80% of the same personnel.
As the season went on, they got better.
Yeah,
as the season went on, they got better, and so didn't the Pacers. The Pacers got better as time went on. It just took them, I think. I think once they got their offensively, they got going and they figured out offensively. I think a lot of their offense dictated what a team did against them, which helped them defensively because their motto is to come down and
run.
Where to come down and where to run.
We're gonna run you.
And you watch their offense. Their offense is so simple. It's one guy to the left. One guy comes over and picks, one guy dies, one guy kicks out to the corner. And then they just run the same offense over and over again. It's not a complicated offense. But what makes the Pacers so good is that no one guy is the guy to go to. is they have a lot of options, and they're all willing passes. Not everybody's willing passes, right? That's one of the good things with them. But like I said, being $20 million under the salary cap,
That's a lot.
is a lot of money.
In today's day, and to be competitive,
and they're getting another 20 million.
another 11 million at least. It's
What up,
189 they're at. They said that they're gonna. Oh no, the salary cap is 189.
180.
They're 20 million under it,
Current.
and it's going up from 189 to 200.
The
next
only
year.
the
I thought it was
only
180,
thing
not 180.
the only thing that may hurt them is whatever Turner signs for.
But
I think
But
he'll
my
take
thing
a
is,
longer term
he's
contract with
been
lesser
there.
money.
He's been there for 10 years already.
Give him a 2-year with option for
Right?
3.
If he's
with
been there for
decent
2
money.
years, like there's no way he could expect a huge contract when you're not even the
His
man.
window and their window to win, because all them guys are going to get paid pretty soon.
He's not even the man though.
I know,
No,
but there's always a need for a veteran who.
So I look at it this way. I look at it, if I'm him and I'm going to the negotiating table, I'm saying, listen, I've been here for 10 years. All right. Every year I've been involved in trade talks. I've been professional throughout.
He was supposed to get traded to the Celtics like
Yes.
5 years ago.
I know. I've been professional every year. I've been, I've come in. I'm not a problem on or off, and I proved that I was worthy. I had an excellent postseason. Maybe not a finals, but he can sit there and say, "Hey, listen, without me, really, how far do you go?"
Don't get me wrong. He deserves some compensation, but not an outstanding.
No,
outlandish one.
I'd give him a middle of the road contract. I'd give him like 20, maybe 25 million. I mean, that's what that's what at least what he's worth. 20, I'd say anywhere between 22 to 26, maybe no more than that. But that's going to factor into if they go over that first apron or not. But the penalty isn't as steep as the second apron. So if it goes, let's say it goes up,
You're in a good
or whatever.
position regardless.
Yeah, they're in a good position. Because of
Figuring
that.
out the Miles thing is minor. Figuring out if you're going to get another guard, because McConnell showed us he can't play.
It'll be 34
dominant minutes. Yeah, they need somebody else. He has to stay in that role, and somebody else has to.
They're gonna need another guy.
A mid-level exception guy has to come in. So that's going to be at least
because Hallie's done
15 million right there.
Hallie's done next year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it depends. It depends on what he does. Now, conversely, if we flip the script and we look at OKC, they're set up for a possible dynasty. I hate using the D word.
25 points
with a million picks still.
25.6-year-old is the average age.
And SGA is the only one that's going to command.
No, Williams will, but he's got another.
But he
he's
won't.
got another.
It won't be like the Celtics where he'll get first or second team or something like that. I don't think
he has to hit. He has to do it. He has
Did
to
he
do
make?
it with
He
him.
made 13 this year.
He made second team.
Second team.
He did.
Team. Yes, he made second team. Yep.
So you only got to make it
what
once,
year-
right?
what
Or you got to
year-
make it in your walk.
Yeah. In your final contract.
Yeah.
He's already on the radar now. So as long as he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah. I mean, that'll throw a monkey wrench into their plans if he hits on that. But I gave the stat. So there's another crazy stat. SGA is the first triple threat to accomplish the scoring title.
Regular season MVP.
MVP, MVP Finals, and NBA champ. The last NBA champ. You know who the last person to do that was?
Jordan.
No, it was.
Shaq.
Shaq was the last person
Shaq.
to do it. So
led the league in
10
scoring.
first round
regular
picks
season
in the
MVP.
next 5 years, along with swaps.
The swaps is what will help them because they're going to win for the next couple of years. So
Yes.
their picks ain't going to be worth doo-doo.
Listen, the Thunder payroll is 24th in the league and will remain under all aprons as well, at least for the next.
What does that
2
tell you?
years.
We just had the argument about
the
but the small market, you can't have a winning team in a small market because you're going to get, no. If you draft well and people are ready to play right away, and the only money they spent was Hartenstein and Caruso, which I don't think Caruso's, but those are the only free agents they brought in. Everybody else was homegrown.
Yes. So it's the thing is, you've got these guys.
SGA was traded for.
You've got these guys under contract for at least for the next 2 to 3 foreseeable years. You don't have to worry about it. It's the only way you would have to worry about it if they got hurt. That is the only way you'd have to worry about it. I hate to use the dynasty word, but if you want to look at the dynamics and how that's being made,
they also got to handle being the bullseye too.
Oh yeah, it's different the second year.
But I think they're set up the best out of anybody we saw for what we talked about. They're not going to lose nobody to money or free agency because everybody's so young and under contract.
But not for nothing. But we said that about the Celtics last year too.
No, the Celtics had so much money invested.
They got hurt.
Yeah. And they had a lot of money invested.
That's the one,
OKC doesn't.
That's the one thing. That's the one thing that could derail a team.
Yeah, an injury.
Injuries.
If Williams or SGA.
So we knew that Brown was playing with a bum knee. What happens? He goes and he gets the operation as soon as they're done. Porzingis was just who God knows what he has.
Yeah, some type of illness.
And then Tatum, in game 5. Ends up blowing his Achilles. So they were derailed a lot by injuries. They weren't by no means. I'm not making excuses, but they weren't 100% as they were last year. And even last year they weren't 100% because Porzingis was still hurt last year.
Truth be told, I think they were losing that series to the Pacers. The Pacers they were already down 3-2 in Game 6 when he got hurt. I think the Pacers were playing that well.
No, they
played the Knicks.
Huh?
They lost to the Knicks.
You're getting ahead of yourself. They lost to the Knicks.
When Tatum went down,
Celtics lost to the Knicks.
Oh.
They lost in the second round. They was in the conference final. So it's just you 2 20-point games, 2 20-point leads blowing in Boston. That's what killed them.
The first 2 games.
But even last year, the Celtics weren't 100% healthy because Porzingis only played 2 games in the final.
He didn't even play the first round, I don't think.
No, he didn't. But this is the thing. I mean, but injuries is something that definitely could throw a monkey wrench into a dynasty or, a potential dynasty. But the three things that they have, which potentially makes for the building of a free agents of a good dynasty, is 3 things, right? And you look at it. And you always hope that you have these 3 things, okay? Number 1 is draft capital. 10 first-round picks with swaps in the next 5 years. That's priceless. If a guy's getting long in the tooth or a guy's underperforming, we go out and we draft somebody. Or we can couple up some of those picks and go in free agency.
Because
that is another thing, free agency.
Yeah. What they showed us this year, they went extended periods of time without Holmgren, didn't lose a beat. Somebody else in their rotation was hurt.
SGA was hurt for a little bit.
Yeah, but there was like 2 or 3 times during the year, but Holmgren was out the most because
what's his name was hurt too, the thumb. The big guy that they got from the Knicks.
Hartenstein
with a thumb.
Yeah, so they're built to absorb these little injuries here and there. They played well without Hartenstein. They played well without Holmgren. But when they're combined as a unit, they're built to win now. Like if they stay healthy, like any other team, but they stayed healthy. They had a couple of hiccups with injuries, but they were able to sustain them because of the way they're built and the type of system they play. Next guy up. So many guys were capable. People didn't think Jalen Williams was that good. Then you got Lou Dort, who was playing well. For a while, Case and Wallace coming off the bench, but they had a multitude of guys that were able to step in and keep the engine running.
So they were talking about this, about some of these guys coming off the bench. What's going to end up happening is obviously once they get to their the year before, they have to decide on them. Chances are they're going to want to spread their wings, and that's when you see the defection. Now you hope
money talks.
Via if you're going to trade them to get more draft capital back, if you're going to trade them to get somebody to replace them, whatever the case is. But they have all those avenues to go down to. They have the draft capital. They can trade, And they can also go out in free agency because they're nowhere next to the first 8.
And they don't need nothing now. And
That's
in the
crazy.
next couple of years, the NBA salary cap's going to go up. So that's going to pad. There's nobody else they're going to have to dole out a lot of money to right away. You said Jalen Williams, maybe Holmgren will get a decent deal. But after that,
Who do you pay first? Williams or Holmgren?
Williams.
Yeah, you take care of the scorer first.
Mhm. I think Holmgren could do a lot more, and he'll get better.
I think he's
not being asked to do a lot right now.
I think he'll always be that third option.
On that team.
But
he could be somebody that somebody else targets and says, I can make you a second option or something.
he needs to get stronger.
Yeah, but that's 2 or 3 years down the road when it's
He needs to get
He
stronger.
only finished his second year.
Because Turner was tossing him around pretty good for a while there.
Well, Turner's not a small guy.
Well, no, but this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. And he
5 pounds
And
a year could be a lot.
I've watched. So in games 4, 5, and 6, Turner figured out his move. He's going to spin, and as soon as he spins, I'm tossing it. He got him 4, 5, and 6. He got him at least 2 times.
Yeah.
Because he had the same move. I'm going to dribble, and then I'm going to try to spin on you. And Turner was like,
But
nope.
I also saw that happen in reverse. I saw Turner getting blocked by Holmgren a lot because he was doing the same thing, and I felt like they kind of neutralized each other.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't. He's to me. I think he's offensively. He's limited. I don't think he's. We've argued about this before. I don't think that. I think he's going to be like he'll max out at like a 16 point. I don't foresee him being a 25, 30.
We know his physical stature is one of the things that's limiting. If he puts on weight,
but if you put on weight, is that going to slow you down?
Well, not if you do it gradually, 5 to 7 pounds a year.
Oh, if you go the way of Sean Kemp, and you might just eat your way right out the thing. And
Yeah,
you see what happened with him?
It's got to be
Speaking of which, you see what happened to Sean Kemp? He's facing jail time.
No.
Yes, he's facing jail time. He was involved in a shootout in a parking lot.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. That happened like a week or two ago.
Yes, he was involved in a shootout in a parking lot, shooting at guys that stole like a cell phone from his car. It was stupid. I'm like, really? I'm like, but yeah. So he's going to end up doing jail time. The prosecutors are recommending 9 months. So
Recommended, but because he's never been in trouble before, he'll get probation. But the other thing with OKC and especially Chet, when you got those other two in front of you, you're never going to have to score more than 14, 15 a game.
Yeah.
But if one of them guys wasn't there, he's going to average another 3 or 4 points a game. If you took Jalen Williams' shots away and it was just him and SGA, he's going to be an 18 and 10 guy, which that's enough to get a good contract.
He couldn't even get 10 rebounds in the last game.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
As a
I don't know.
that's an inside thing.
I don't know. I mean, he has to shoot. I thought he was a better 3-point shooter than what he shot in the finals. He
well, the
struggled.
finals he didn't have.
He struggled. He struggled.
He
Big
can't
time.
shoot the three.
He had open looks and he struggled.
I think he got in his head. He stopped taking them as much.
But I mean, he's got a lot of. He's only second year. But I mean, I think I don't know if his ceiling could be over 20 points a game. I think.
No, but that would be solid if you're playing with SGA. And I mean, look at Jalen Williams. He averaged 23 a game in the playoffs, and not even being considered for like because your guy's averaging 30.
Yeah, he still made the second. He still made the second team All NBA. So.
Oh no, yeah, I was talking about just in the finals.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to get recognition. Yeah, the league recognized him for what he did during the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, he a lot of people. If you would have said last year, okay, do you think he's going to be an All NBA second team? A lot of people would have laughed at you.
A lot of people. Hey, a lot of people was like, "Yo, who is Jalen Williams?"
Yeah, they would have laughed at you.
Yeah, he was like the number 12 pick in the draft when he came out.
Yeah. Well, this is what happens.
They draft well.
Hitting. When you continue to hit, you look like a genius.
Yep.
And then when you don't
Sam
hit,
Presti's done it often.
and then when you don't hit, you tend to be looked at like
Now,
nuts.
them and Indiana are very similar, but Indiana accomplished it opposite. They went out and got free agents
Yes.
that fit into their system. They got Siakam, they got Halliburton, but they went and picked pieces that they felt would, support the type of system they wanted to run.
I was really shocked with Obi Toppin. I did not think he was that good of a
Yeah.
3-point shooter.
He opened some
He didn't
eyes.
get as many opportunities in New York.
Well, he was in the doghouse with
Thibodeau.
But I did not think he was that good of a 3-point
You
shooter.
would consider him a slasher,
A
a
high
dunker.
flyer.
Yeah.
Perform on the alley oops,
Yeah.
fast breaks.
He was spotting up in the corners, wings, everything.
hitting.
Could have been
And
working on that. He's the guy that wants to improve on something every year. Maybe he just developed that because I didn't see that in New York.
No,
Or he
didn't
wasn't
see it.
allowed to do it.
No, well, like I said, he was in the doghouse.
He didn't get much playing
eventually,
time either.
eventually to the point where you go from a number 1 pick to being traded. That's
That's another nail in Thibodeau's coffin.
yeah. They're looking at it. They're like,
Like,
wait a second,
We got beat by somebody that
we had this guy. This
Guy didn't even get off the
you
bench.
told
for
us let him go. Like
Yeah.
he was not worth it.
Yeah, he was.
garbage.
He was in for 2 years. The last 2 years, he was with the Knicks. He was in the doghouse. It was no secret,
Oh.
But yeah, I did not think he was that good of a 3-point shooter. And he really impressed me. I mean,
He showed up.
the whole Pacers team overall impressed me. I underestimated them when I said, maybe 5 games, 6 at the most if they're lucky, and they took it to the limit, 7th, and were playing real good for 3 quarters without their leader. Something that once you see your leader go down, you would think that a lot of air would have been let out and they would have been blown out a lot sooner. But it didn't happen until the end of the 3rd quarter, the beginning of the 4th quarter.
Yeah, they were up at half.
Yeah. It like I said, it happened at the OKC went on I think it was a 17-4 run or something like that to open it up. But other than that, I was really impressed with what the Pacers were able to accomplish, even without their star. Now, if we were to look at the teams, the superstars that got hurt, who do you think set up for the best position? Do you think it's Milwaukee? Do you think it's Boston? Do you think
Milwaukee?
Do you think it's
to come out of the East?
Yeah. No, between those 3 teams that I just named, Milwaukee,
Indiana
is got Dame Lillard. Boston is got Tatum,
the zeros,
and
Yeah.
all the zeros.
But
And
I think the Pacers are in the best position
they've got more depth
to maintain.
They've got more.
They just need depth at point. They need somebody else because as good as McConnell played, he can only play limited minutes. He's 34. He's going to be 35 next year.
They need somebody else.
He can't go through a whole season being a point guard and playing 30 minutes a game.
And it seemed as if the more times he touched the ball, he started to turn it over.
Yeah, he had a lot of turnovers.
I mean, he scored 8 straight points at one point in time, but he also did have in 3 out of 4 possessions 3 turnovers.
Yep.
So it's like we know that's not your natural.
But not only that, you're the point guard. Why are you taking all the shots? And it's not he's driving. Not like he's hitting open threes or anything like that. He's taking it to the teeth.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is standing around and he's dribbling around and
I'm in agreement with you. I think definitely I don't think they're as dependent as the other 2 guys for scoring production.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say that.
Because obviously Tatum is a 27, 28 point game. Lillard is high 20s as well. Halliburton is maybe 21.
It's everything. Halliburton
22,
led the league in assists.
21 or 22, 20.
Him being the glue.
He's
stretch the defense.
He's the one that makes them their motor go.
11 point something assists a game. He's doing something.
You add that coupled with 20 points. Now you're talking over 30 points.
But they also ran. And my thing is, I give you a pass at half court. You could take 4 dribbles and make a layup. They're giving me an assist on that.
Doesn't matter. I'm just saying whether that's the case or not. He's the glue that makes the engine run.
Yeah, he's
going to get a couple of easy ones here and there. Yeah,
I just think that team they're not as dependent on him for scoring. where the other two guys,
They got
they're more,
Siakam and
they're more
the young dude Matterin came into his own, and Nemhard and Naismith played well. I didn't think Naismith was going to be that good when he got to Indiana. Him like Toppin, two guys that were giving up on that.
Naismith,
he didn't have a chance.
Look who he had played in front.
No, he didn't have a chance.
Look who he has playing in front of him. But I knew he was going to be, he's a high intensity guy. I'm every time he played against the Celtics, I got nervous because he's one of those guys that like he'll dive for a ball and he'll take your legs out. Nothing malice about it, but that's just he's high intensity like that. He fouled out of 3 out of the 7 games he fouled out.
Very aggressive. Very aggressive.
So this tells you his nature. He's defensively, and when he came into the league, that wasn't his.
No, he was known as a shooter.
He was supposed to be one of the better shooters, and he didn't pan out to be a very good shooter for the Celtics. When he got in the game, there was a lot of clickety.
If he missed one or two,
clickety clack, clack, clack. But what we did see was when he was going through his struggles with shooting, was he dug in and he played defense. We saw that at the end when he was with the Celtics. We saw a lot of glimpses of him. Did he just do that? I mean, that dunk that he got, that follow-up dunk.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was one of the craziest dunks that I've seen. I mean, he was way up in the rim. I mean, like I'm talking like elbow up into the rim, looking down. But yeah, no, I think the Pacers, if I had to pick between them 3 teams, I would say, yeah, the Pacers, they're set up.
I think a lot of those mid-level teams that were on the rise are going to have the advantage next year. The Orlandos and the Detroits. We'll see what free agency brings. A couple of them have started making trades.
Orlando already made theirs come true.
For what, a 4 seed?
Well, yeah, because it was Cleveland. Then it was Boston,
New York,
and then
yes, a 4 seed.
Bases,
Yes. Yeah, they were a 4 seed.
But my thing is, don't sleep on the Pistons next year.
No, the Pistons gave them everything. Who they lose to? New York.
The Pistons were up every game
They didn't have
until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, no close.
Next year, a year older with everybody, and I still think they're going to get themselves a veteran.
And not only that, they got that guy coming off.
Yeah,
He didn't play.
he's still young. They'll be like the OKC thing. They'll have a bunch of young guys, but they won't have that grizzly veteran. And I think they're going to get somebody like
Cunningham. He's been in the league for what, 5 years now?
4 years maybe.
I
But he doesn't have his contract yet.
I said that he's going to be one of the guys to break the
Free agent bank.
No, not to break the MVP. Not the MVP. The MVP, the American MVP. He's going to be one of the first ones
to get an MVP.
Yeah, because look at the last 7 years.
Embiid.
You think he'll get it before Tatum?
I don't.
He could get it next year, and Tatum won't be around.
Yeah, I don't think
And it's going to take Tatum a year to get back.
But
to that.
no, this is the thing. So as long as Tatum has the Batman with Jalen, he's not going to get those shots. He's not going to get up enough shots to get the 32, 33
All right,
points.
he'll take the wins.
He'll take the wins.
Yeah.
It's just that when you have one guy averaging 27 and then another guy averaging 22, there's a lot of points taken. There's a lot of shots being taken, for you, I just don't think if he were to get, let's say Brown were to get traded and they were to go maybe in that off, maybe he could do it then, but I don't foresee him because he can't get up enough shots to do it. I mean, they have in order for him to do it, he would have to have an exceptional shooting year. He'd have to be a lot more efficient in the shots that he took, but I don't see it. But I do predict that he'll break the MVP and bring America back into the fold of MVP.
You think him before Anthony Edwards?
Ooh, Anthony's up there.
That's
he's tough.
He's tough. Yeah, he is tough, but I don't know. You
don't think his team will get enough wins?
Wemby might have something to say about that too.
Yeah, but Wemby's not American.
I know. As far as keeping the streak going.
Yeah, I think Wemby's still a few years away, a couple years away. I think his team has to
Well,
progress.
San Antonio's gotten better. Remember, they were a playoff team until he went down. They were on track to have a winning record and be in the playoffs. Now you're adding 2 more contributors.
There's still only one ball though.
Yeah, but none of them guys are ball hungry. Wemby doesn't have to have the ball. He's just your number one option. Castle doesn't demand the ball. Maybe Fox would be the most demanding, and he's the point guy. But
And moving on, I'm looking at the time. I want to talk about some of the trades before we end out. So we talked last week about Kevin Durant. It ended up coming true.
And we talked about the Orlando trade.
Yep. We talked about the Orlando trade, but we talked about possibly Kevin Durant, where he could possibly go, and last week I was saying no, that he wasn't going to go to the Rockets, and sure enough,
he said he wanted one of the Texas teams.
And sure enough, he ends up getting traded from the Suns to the Rockets.
I still don't like the
I don't like
type of deal.
I don't like the Jalen Green part about that.
Yeah, I was like, but that's why I said there's something going on that we don't know, because they said he was bad chemistry.
I think Jalen Green outplayed himself in the postseason
because
he didn't have
killed
it.
He
didn't.
No, he didn't have a good season.
Horrible.
You sure?
Yeah, he
Jalen
had a
Green
bad
was
playoff.
Horrible. He was horrible
Because he said one bad series and they're ready to remember they lost early.
Yes, he was.
They lost in the first round.
They lost in the first round.
So who?
Not Memphis. Golden State.
Yes.
Yeah.
Without Curry.
No.
He was giving them fits.
No, Curry played.
Oh, Curry didn't play in the second round.
Yeah. No. He had a horrible.
He did not have a good series.
Horrible series. Maybe it was that Cougar that had him up all night or something. I don't know.
Trey and Michelle.
But Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick, which turned out to be the Duke big man, Kaman Malua, and 5 second-round picks. It to me,
hard to say who won, because I think both teams got stuff to help them. Houston got that closer. Phoenix freed up a lot of money to go out and get more pots.
He had one good game. I'm sorry, maybe that's the whole game.
Yeah, no, he had horrible playoff series.
Yeah,
I think it went 6 or 7.
It went 7. He had 38 in game 6.
Yeah, and that was his only good game.
Yeah.
He was well under his season average. For the whatchamacallit, I remember that. Yeah, I mean, so 5 second-round picks. You don't really bat your eyes over the second-round picks. Houston had a lot of them, so it's I'd rather give up the seconds than the first.
Yeah.
You typically use those seconds to parlay for picks anyway, and that's what they did. And like you said, the Rockets, they get that closer, so now they get a projected lineup of Van Vliet, Thompson, Durant, Smith Jr., and Sengun. That's a pretty.
Now, 2 things I want to mention about that lineup you just mentioned. One, it was reported that the Twin was very upset about Jalen Green leaving.
Yeah.
And
that.
But what was the other thing I was just going to say?
Two things.
Yeah, and I forgot the second because I was trying to remember.
I look at it this way, right? I think Houston, they think that there's a small window for them, and this is the window. We had talked about the previous week about Orlando thinking that this was their go-to window. He got back.
Light went back on.
Ching, ching. So I think this is what was their all in. Like, let's try it now, and let's see what works. If it works or not.
They're still young, even though they got rid of those 2 guys.
And they just restructured Van Fleet's contract, and he
2
took
years.
less money.
2 years.
That's why
They kept him off the free agent market.
I don't know if it was.
So now they got a little bit of room to go out and add some depth
I don't know if
To the
we,
bench.
we talked about this the other day or what, but I think I think you said they trade Van Fleet. I think they keep him.
Well, I was
keep him.
saying trade him because
No, they
he
keep
was
him.
going to be too costly.
I mean, he got paid.
And they had the number 10 pick, so I didn't see the Durant trade coming, and I thought they would have grabbed the point guard or something.
Yeah, but they already made that trade when we talked about it.
Huh?
When we talked about me and you was talking about it, the Van Fleet thing. That you think
Oh.
they were gonna trade him, and I said no, they're gonna keep him.
No, they're keeping him. They gave him
He's a good veteran.
So what in essence what they did was they're saving themselves money because next year he was going to be a free agent. So they said, listen, we'll extend you, and we'll give you the same amount of money that you were getting before. You know, because you got to remember when he came over from Toronto, he got that big contract.
Hey, he won the championship.
Well, no, that was afterward. That was afterward. That was a few years afterward. That's when Toronto decided to blow up their whole team. They got rid of. He was the first piece. Then no, I'm sorry. The first piece was the big guy.
Claw, right?
No. Well, yeah, he was the first piece to go, but they still kept the team intact. And then they kept Siakam. They kept the African dude. What was
OG
his name?
Anunoby. He was in Toronto.
Yes, him, Siakam. They kept all those guys for 2 more years, and then they blew it up.
They got DeRozan out of
And
there
they blew it
first.
up. Yes, and then they blew it up.
DeRozan wasn't there for this.
No, DeRozan
He's
was
already
there.
gone.
Oh.
Yeah. Then they blew it up. They got rid of all those guys in consecutive 2 in 1 year and then 1 the following year. Which one call it was the last piece? What's his name? Siakam was the last piece to go. He was the last guy. He was the one that. So the only reason why he stayed was because he got a contract. Other than that, he probably would still be there if they didn't.
Well, didn't him and OG go the same year?
No,
because OG went to the Knicks last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Siakam went to the Pacers last year.
Yeah.
Was it? Oh, so was it last year?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was Van Vliet
right
first.
at the trade. Yeah.
It was Van Vliet first because he got the damn near $200 million.
He got paid.
He got a.
It was like 180 or something like that. It's crazy.
And they had Scotty Barnes developing, so they figured they needed to expose him to make him grow more. And they had to get
and their problem was nobody wanted to go. Nobody wanted to go play in Toronto.
Yeah,
that was their problem. It was like, all right, we won a title. Our prime years to get somebody to come was during that, that year,
Kawhi
the following year. And then as soon as Kawhi left, then the exodus started.
Mhm.
Everybody just year after year after year, everybody just kept going. But yeah, basically they said, we'll give you the same amount of money you're getting, $25 million for 2 years. So 25 for this year coming up, and then he would have been a free agent because what he did was he opted out of his play option for next year. Oh, wait, hold on. We'll take care of you. We'll give you 25, and then we'll make it even sweeter. We'll give you 25 for the following year. So we don't have to come to the bargaining table again. So he's guaranteed for which is, it's a good move when you think about it, because now you've got the big dog coming in. You've got the chemistry already of what they had. Now you're putting the closer in there.
Yeah.
Why not try it?
And I was really impressed that Van Fleet restructured his contract to give them some financial flexibility because they had to absorb Durant's contract. I don't know what Durant makes, but I know it's up there. But it's only going to be 2-3 years.
I wouldn't even say 3. The way he's been moving.
I don't think he slowed down.
No, so most of the guys,
about jumping teams.
So most of the guys, if you notice, if you look at a lot of these older veterans, they're doing 2-3 years max. They're not doing 4 years. They're not doing the long term.
Because people will cut them in that last year if you back in the contract.
2 years, guaranteed money, 2 years. Their player option. Typically, their player option that final year exceeds their what their annual comes out to. So that last year might be inflated by an additional $8 to $10 million. If either you're going to opt in or you're going to opt out. But yeah, we already talked.
53 million.
We had already talked
Durant?
about the Orlando and Memphis deal. Um, Obviously, you got to pay attention to what Boston did. They got rid of Drew Holiday, and it's pretty sad because that's where they got him from.
And I heard he's not happy.
Oh, he's not happy. No, he's not happy.
Portland?
Why would you? Be
Why would you
happy?
want to go back to Portland?
Why would you be?
He was
happy?
never there. He was there 4 days.
Yeah.
Then they traded him.
Why would you be happy?
But he wasn't happy when Milwaukee traded him the first time.
Yeah.
He lasted 4 days and he was
Um,
right back. But he also is a community guy, and he has a lot going on in Milwaukee. He has a lot going on in Boston now, and he's already had a lot going on in New Orleans. But he has young kids, and to keep moving them, uprooting your family and moving.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say he gets moved again.
I thought about
He
that.
gets bought out?
No,
No,
he'll
no,
get
that
moved
they'll
again.
trade him again
They'll
to
trade him
another
again to a contender.
But there's a reason why I think he doesn't get moved this year. And it was very interesting. They got rid of Anthony Simons, right?
Yep.
They got 2 young guys. They want to do the same thing that San Antonio did with Chris Paul in San Antonio. No, where did Chris Paul just play last? Was it San Antonio?
San Antonio. Yeah.
Because bringing in Wemby, a point, they want a veteran leader to help Shaden Sharp and the kid that was the number 2 pick that came over from the G League, Scoot Henderson. Scoot Henderson's now the starting point guard. Shaden Sharp, who didn't play at all at Kentucky because he was ineligible or something, but he still got drafted. Their young backcourt has a total of 3 years experience, and they need a veteran to come in and lead them and show them how to be professionals. They said that was the big attraction for them keeping him, and they compared it to the Chris Paul. When I heard that, I said, because the same thing Brian said, when they brought us, they're going to flip him again. He won't be there that long. But then when I heard that report come out, I said, that makes sense. They need somebody to groom, and he doesn't really want to be in that role right now, you know?
Yeah.
He's 35 himself. He'll be 36 next year when the season starts. And they got him in a grooming role, and he's like, they're forcing me to put me out to pasture pretty soon. Like, just come in and, you know.
Well, $30 million wouldn't hurt. And then once again, I told you the player option year. Boston saved $67 million. So let's dial back. They saved $3 million, but the following year they saved $37 million. So in total, getting rid of Drew Holiday, $40 million. Okay, because Anthony Simons is a free agent after this year.
Right. He's in the last year of a 4-year, but he gets $27 million this year.
Yes. So
4-year,
do the math.
deal.
Drew Holiday was getting is scheduled to get $30 million. They get rid of that final year, $37 million. That's like I said, that's $40 million right there.
Yep. And they get a free look at Simons to see if he's what they want.
Yep. So they did that. Not shortly after that, they pulled a day later they pulled the trigger. 3-way deal on Porzingis. Boston gets George Niang, who is a Boston guy. He's a Boston guy, and a second-round pick. The Hawks get Porzingis and a second-round pick from the Nets, and the Nets got Terrence Mann and the Hawks number 22 pick, which turned out to be Drake Powell from North Carolina State. Terrence Mann wasn't he?
He was with the Clippers at first.
He's a Boston guy too, isn't he?
I heard Ashley in the morning talk about his father was the coach at the school she went to, and I think she went to Northeastern.
He's a Boston kid, I believe. Terrence Mann, I believe. Google him. He's a Boston kid, I think too.
I heard Ashley say something about that, and I thought they said Northeastern, but I'm not sure. But I'm
pretty sure
that he had some local ties. But I remember, wasn't he the one that was playing well for the Clippers when he first came in the league?
When he went to Tilton Academy.
There you go. Yes, he is.
Hey, we know a girl that went there.
Yes, I knew he was. He was from around the area. Yes, and then whatchamacallit got traded there.
Harden.
Yes, Harden got traded there. And then that just took his time right off the books. Basically, he's been on the bench ever since. He'll come in for spurts here and there, but So that's weird that you had two guys with local ties that end up in trades, with the Celtics. So yeah, and like I said, they shed a whole lot of money with Porzingis
And got younger.
and got
Yeah.
younger. Most importantly, got younger and
guys
freed up
that-
the money.
Yeah.
And guys that's gonna
Holiday was 9 years older than freaking Simons.
Yes.
And then Simons only got the 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah.
Porzingis, I don't know how old Porzingis is.
It doesn't make a difference how old he is.
His body's 106,
Yeah.
but
So, everybody's like, "Oh, what do you think?" And I said, "Listen,
he was great to have, but not
It's
at that
great to
price.
have.
Not when he's not available.
yes, exactly. When you ultimately miss more games, than what
Can't
you
count
played-
on you. We would have won if we would have had him, but we don't have him.
Yes, exactly. He wasn't even
And
a
we don't
shell
know
of
why.
himself. He wasn't. Yeah,
29.
he wasn't a shell of him. He was a shell.
Remember, he had the foot problems in New York.
29 years old.
Yeah, he had the football. He had the foot problems in Boston too. He had foot problems. He had
Now he's got something else, though. You know,
Virus that nobody knows what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So
COVID.
yeah, so that was that. But there was some other stuff that went on too. Kyrie Irving.
did the same thing
Did the
that
same thing.
Van
Opted
Fleet
out.
did. Opted
Opted
out
out.
and came in for less money.
Yep.
Now I like their starting five, but we don't know when he's coming back.
Yes.
They're saying maybe Christmas.
They're saying after the All-Star break.
Okay.
February.
So they need another guard
Do they?
to fill that role. Who's going to play point?
Like,
No. I'm going to
I'm
ask a question.
surprised.
I'm going to ask a question. Do you think Cooper Flag gets Rookie of the Year?
Depends on who gets used and what and how
I'm gonna
much
say no.
usage.
why? Because
I'm going to say because of who he's playing with. Yes, he's going to get a lot less touches. Where I think some of these
If
other
Anthony
guys,
Davis stays healthy, because if Anthony Davis gets hurt in the first part of the year,
yeah.
they're going to put all the burden on Flag.
Yeah.
Because there's already no Kyrie.
Yeah.
But Kyrie and Klay Thompson,
But
Once
Clay's that catch and shoot guy. He's not gonna really demand to have the ball in his hands all the time.
no, but he's going to want his fair share.
yeah, he's gonna pull. he'll pull.
So
yeah.
I think
But
Flag-
re-signing Lively, no, they re-signed Giddy. Gaffney, the other big guy.
Yeah.
But they got Lively and Gaffney. And so
We have three legit big men.
yes.
Yeah.
So if Anthony Davis, he doesn't have to play center, which was his big crying point. I don't want to be a
From
center.
the 5 to the 4. That's what he
You
wants.
got the other two to rotate. And so you got 6 guys deep, but that's when Kyrie's there. So I don't know where their bench is going to come from because I don't know what they got to look forward to on the bench right now.
I'm gonna go on a limb and I'm gonna say that
And I don't think they had a first round pick.
I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say that
A second round.
that no, he doesn't win Rookie of the Year. I could see somebody like a Trey, like a Trey Johnson.
Ace Bailey could do it because he's
Ace
gonna play-
Bailey?
I think they're going to trade.
Look at the
Moxley.
teams. Trey Johnson is a natural scorer. He's going to the Wizards.
Mhm.
They got a lot. No,
They traded Jordan Poole.
yes, Jordan
That
Poole.
opens that
Yes.
spot up for them.
They got a lot of veterans over there, though.
Did you see how much money comes off their books
Yeah.
next year?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got that stat.
Yep.
So they're going to play through this year and then they're going to rebuild. Get guys that are going to be around for the long haul.
They've been rebuilding.
Yeah, but they have guys on their payroll from like 5 years ago that I didn't even know was still getting paid.
Like my boy from Connecticut, Prince. Who Prince? Najee. The point guy from UConn, light skinned kid,
Napier.
Napier,
Oh,
Napier.
Sabaj.
Jabaz Napier.
He's still on. He's still getting paid $2.2 million.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
He
they have
played-
several people. That list was long.
I couldn't tell you last time he played in the NBA.
Is he?
No, he's playing overseas.
Still overseas?
He's not playing really. Well, he played overseas, but he got hurt last year. I know that.
Hmm.
But he played overseas and he get paid $2.2 million from the Wizards.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So yeah, the Wizards get CJ McCollum,
Expiring contract.
Kelly Olynyk,
Olynyk,
another one.
expiring contract.
Pelicans get Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey and the number 40.
I'm surprised because Sadiq Bey was playing all right his first couple of years when he went to Detroit, right? Wasn't it? Didn't he start off in Detroit?
Yes.
Then they made that trade with a guy. Oh no, he was in Detroit too. That went to Portland. Jeremy Grant.
Yes.
They were both there.
Syracuse guy.
Yes. Yeah. So those were the moves. They were all in succession too. They were all leading up to the draft.
That's why I thought something else was going to get announced at the draft.
Everybody was
things.
scrambling.
You don't see that anymore. Players getting traded at the draft.
If there was somebody that a team really had their eye on, they'd almost have like a handshake deal saying, "Hey, if the guy we want is available, we're willing to offer you this."
What do you want for him?
And that was already predetermined because you only got 5 minutes tonight. I think it's 2 minutes. By the time I get home, it's like 8:20.
Is it 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
It's something quick because it was only 5 minutes.
I think it's 3 minutes. I think it goes to 3 minutes,
which I kind of like. I hate.
Yeah.
Forever in football, 15 minutes, 10 minutes.
Why? It should be rapid fire. I mean,
especially you should already have your.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, and they still only got through one round.
You got to have A, B, and C.
But 30
D.
teams. That's 150 minutes, man. That's 2.5 hours of coverage.
But yeah, that's as we speak, the NBA draft has already started. It's now 8:05, so we're gonna wrap up. It won't be long. Celtics have the second pick in the second round.
Look out for the Creighton dude, or look out for
second pick in the second round.
The other big man from Stanford.
We'll wrap the show up and go watch the second round.
Hey, just for the record. Well, Tuesday it was like 100 degrees.
Yeah, today's 67 degrees.
Tomorrow, bring out your hoodie.
It's
like 61 or something like that.
It was cold when I got up to drive this morning, man. They said the high is 71. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Bring out the hoodies.
One day you need a nice coffee. The next day you need
I got in. The AC was already on. I was like, oh.
The next day you need a hot coffee. And I joked about it on the morning show too. I said, take it in because I joked on Tuesday. I said, you never know. I said it may be 90 and it may be 60. In another week, and it wasn't even a week.
I'm gonna have a coffee. I just don't know if it's hot or ice.
Yeah,
put the ice on the side.
Yeah. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and download the WMB1 Radio mobile app, available on all mobile platforms, whatever phone you have, Android or iPhone. It is available and it's free. And we are roughly a week away from the Cape Verdean parade 50. in which WMB1 Radio will be partaking, and just all you got to do is follow the float with the most noise.
Yeah,
we're gonna be banging as we go through this
flying candy
as we go through the streets of New Bedford. We're gonna be representing on our float as usual. So
people up and dancing out their seats.
So be on the lookout for that. And much more. Also, the Lighthouse Tavern is having DJ Wall G coming down.
His class year graduating, right?
Yes, it's the 30th year for class of 95. Class of 95.
Big Kev, you old bastard.
Oh, Kev's in that class. Oh, yeah, that's right. All right. Yeah. So hey, that's a lot. 30 years, man. Wow.
It's crazy.
That's I know. It seems just like yesterday. Not when you
have 60 years.
60. Well, easy there. But yeah, so so there'll be a lot of things going on next week. A lot of festivities going on.
Is there the basketball tournament's not the same week as the Cape Verde?
Yes, Saturday.
Is it?
Yeah. Always Saturday.
About the 3-on-3.
Yeah, that's Saturday too.
Saturday, yeah.
He's switching it up a little bit, so he's starting at like 8:30 in the morning with the kids.
Yeah, because by the time we go by the park, I know the adults are starting.
Yeah,
they've started. It'd be real hot at like 11-12 to start that first game with the adults, and then the out of town teams that get in town to play. That's always a delay. We don't have anything that the station is doing, but we're in the works with some stuff. So stay tuned for that. And always remember, you can always tune into WMB1 Radio for podcasts, music shows, and much more. Be on the lookout
out for the Ladies Luxury Tax. They're fresh back off of the American Black Film Festival, which took place in Miami. They should be having some material available shortly to show you, what they were doing when they were out there. They were doing big things, rubbing shoulders with a lot of celebrities out there.
Yeah, they get it in out there, man.
Of course,
They get
of
it
course.
in.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I must say I'm jealous. But yeah, it's gonna do it for this show. Make sure you tune in next week. Once again, straight to the point sports right here on WMB1 Radio. With that being said, we're going to sign off, and we shall see you next week. Everybody be safe. I would normally say put the ACs on next week. Tomorrow, go and put some hoodies on.
Yeah.
Got some WMB on hoodies and stuff.
Yeah. Go put some hoodies on. That's it. We're out. See you all next week. Peace.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Yo, what's up?
Baby, let's go.
Old school R&B, hip hop, reggae, sports, talk shows, and a whole lot more. You're listening to the internet's hottest new radio station, WNB1 Radio, New Bedford, Massachusetts, home of the legendary Tavares and just a collection of some cool